在重庆也加入砸锅卖铁盘活变现资产支援方案的队伍。
Recently, a document issued by the Bishan district government of Chongqing City, known as a red-headed document, surfaced online. In China, these formal government documents, referred to as red-headed documents, are considered authoritative and not subject to rumors or speculation. The document revealed that the Bishan district government has established a special task force to oversee the district's financial crisis under the directive 砸锅卖铁, meaning scraping the barrel. In Chinese, it literally means to smash iron pots and sell the steel. The task force's primary responsibility is to manage asset disposal and mitigate local debt risks. The news has sparked widespread discussion, becoming one of the most talked about topics in the country. Attentive netizens discovered that the phrase scraping the barrel has appeared in several local government documents since last year. This directive reflects the extreme measures some regions are being urged to take to address mounting financial difficulties. In the Chinese language, to smash iron pots and sell the steel is more than just a colloquial expression. It's a metaphor for a desperate last-ditch effort. It conveys the idea of reaching a point of no return, where one is willing to do whatever it takes to survive, even if it means smashing the cooking pot and selling it as scrap metal. In 2023, the State Council of the CCP issued document number 47, titled Measures to Strengthen the Management of Government Investment Projects in Key Provinces. The document mandates that local governments must scrape the barrel to fully resolve local debt risks. It also identified 12 key provinces and cities where this directive is to be enforced, including Tianjin, Inner Mongolia, Liaoning, Jilin, Heilongjiang, Guangxi, Chongqing, Guizhou, Yunnan, Gansu, Qinghai, and Ningxia. The appearance of such a directive, an official red-headed document, has shocked the Chinese public, causing widespread alarm. People are suddenly realizing that the economic situation of local governments in China has deteriorated to the point where the era of selling pots and pans has begun, signaling that bankruptcy might be on the horizon. Some people have taken to social media to express their concerns. One asked, whose pots are being smashed and whose iron is being sold? Another questioned, why smash the pot into scrap metal before selling it? Wouldn't it be better to sell the pot as it is? Some pointed out the stark contrast between past aspirations and the current reality. In Chinese society, smash iron pots and sell the steel, or scraping the barrel, is often used to express determination in the face of adversity. For instance, if a family member falls ill and there's no money for treatment, but the family refuses to give up, they might sell everything they own, including their house, to save their loved one. This is what is referred to as selling pots and pans. Similarly, impoverished families may dream of sending their children to prestigious universities, even if it means smashing iron pots and selling the steel, and cut off all other options to make that dream a reality. The inclusion of a desperate phrase like scraping the barrel in an official government document is anything but ordinary. While such expressions are typically used by individuals in moments of personal crisis, their appearance in government directives indicates that the authorities are now openly admitting to struggling in despair. This revelation has left the general public even more hopeless. People widely believe that the CCP has a long-standing habit of reporting only positive news while concealing negative developments, often exaggerating economic achievements. The emergence of a directive instructing local governments to scrape the barrel has become a shocking surprise, revealing the true severity of the current situation. A professor at the University of South Carolina-Aiken, Dr. Frank Xie, commented on the situation. He said, the deterioration of local finances in China, leading to governments resorting to smashing the iron pots and selling the steel, resembles the actions of a gambler who has lost everything, burdened with debt, bankrupt, and unable to provide even the basics. Local government finances in China primarily rely on revenue from real estate and taxes. The current economic landscape is bleak, with private enterprises shutting down, foreign companies withdrawing, investment shrinking significantly, trade declining, consumption severely lacking, debt mounting, mass unemployment, and reduced government tax revenue. The three key drivers of China's economy, investment, exports, and consumption, are all faltering, with some even coming to a complete standstill. revealing a drastic drop in foreign investment during the second quarter, which totaled a mere $4.9 billion US dollars. It is a staggering 87% decrease compared to the same period last year. China's real estate giants Evergrande and Country Garden are now burdened with debts so enormous that they threaten the stability of the entire industry. This collapse has triggered a ripple effect across related sectors, turning China's economic downturn into a ticking time bomb for the global economy. Real estate accounts for 25% of China's economic output, making it too large to fail. Despite various government measures to stimulate consumption, including policies to encourage home purchases, lifting restrictions, and lowering interest rates to make buying homes more accessible, new home prices in China fell at the fastest rate in 9 years in July. Developers, desperate to clear inventory, have launched aggressive promotional campaigns, but with limited success. Market expectations suggest that China's housing prices may continue to decline. Even Vanke Group, one of China's and the world's largest real estate developers, has not been spared from the crisis. Although it managed to withstand the initial wave of the national real estate downturn, the prolonged market slump has forced the company to resort to scraping the barrel in a desperate bid for survival. According to statistics, Vanke's sales from January to April amounted to only 78.9 billion yuan, a sharp 40% drop year-on-year. The data indicates that by the end of this year, Vanke will face over 99.8 billion yuan in rigid debt obligations due. On May 8th, a transfer announcement from the Shenzhen Public Resources Trading Center caught widespread attention. Vanke, one of China's leading real estate developers, has listed a prime piece of land in the Shenzhen Bay super headquarters base for sale at a starting price of 2.2 billion yuan. This 19,200 square meter plot, designated for commercial and office use, was originally purchased by Vanke in late 2017 for 3.1 billion yuan. Vanke had planned to build its new headquarters on this prestigious site, but as the real estate market cooled, these ambitions were shattered. Now, Vanke is forced to sell this prime land at a 30% discount, making it one of the largest loss-making transactions in the company's history. Adding to Vanke's woes, the company had already invested in and completed part of the construction on the site. Now they must sell both the land and the partially completed development as a package deal. The bursting of the real estate bubble is having a severe impact on other sectors as well. This year, the wave of bankruptcies has spread to many industries, including the restaurant, bubble tea, hair and beauty, automotive sales, and interior decoration sectors. According to China's restaurant industry platform Ta Media, 1 million restaurants closed in the first half of this year, a number that is double the total closures during the entire pandemic year of 2022. The situation in the restaurant industry can only be described as a massive collapse. Local governments across China, burdened by soaring debts and sharply declining tax revenues, are being forced to urgently liquidate assets to repay their obligations. The current Scraping the Barrel campaign involves local governments deeply exploiting existing resources, including state-owned property, equity and debt assets, and land resources. These governments are developing work plans to activate and monetize these assets to mitigate debt risks. Chinese media have explained that scraping the barrel refers to various methods to activate the 3 state-owned assets: funds, assets, and resources, to reduce debt ratios and improve the quality and efficiency of fiscal spending. On August 1, 2023, the government website of Delingha City, Qinghai Province, issued a plan to strictly implement the scraping the barrel requirement, urging to raise awareness, smash iron pots and sell the steel, and weather the storm. Similarly, a work report was released by the Zuozi County government in Ulankab City, Inner Mongolia, on February 7th this year. It mentioned that the county resolved 1.3 billion yuan worth of debt through the scraping the barrel approach in 2023. The government work report from Wuhai City, Inner Mongolia, also highlighted the use of scraping the barrel to mitigate government debt risks, with strict prohibitions on incurring new hidden government debts. In Quangang District, Quanzhou City, Fujian Province, the local government announced on May 11th during its 37th executive meeting that it had studied a plan for asset liquidation under the scraping the barrel strategy, emphasizing the need for strict budget management and austerity measures. The term smash iron pots and sell the steel traces its origins back to the late 1950s, during China's Great Steelmaking Campaign, a part of the larger Great Leap Forward movement. In 1958, the CCP launched an ambitious nationwide campaign to rapidly industrialize the country and boost agricultural production with the goal of surpassing Britain and catching up with the U.S. This campaign, known as the Great Leap Forward, included the Great Steelmaking Campaign as one of its key components. During this period, makeshift steel furnaces were set up across the country. The scenes of people smashing their household ironware, including pots, pans, and utensils, to feed the steel furnaces became common. People eagerly responded to the government's call, sacrificing their household items to contribute to the national effort. But this approach was scientifically unfounded, leading to severe economic losses and a tremendous waste of resources. The Great Leap Forward was eventually halted in 1960. But it was followed by what the CCP termed 3 years of natural disasters. In reality, there were no major natural disasters. During this period, millions of people died from starvation across the country. For those who lived through the Great Leap Forward, the phrase "smash iron pots and sell the steel" carries deep emotional scars. It has become a symbol of that era's absurdity and is laden with negative historical connotations. Today, the Chinese government has revived that term as a name for a task force aimed at mitigating debt risks and handling state-owned assets. It seems not only out of touch, but also evokes a sense of intense, blind political fervor and fear. A Chinese economist based in the United States, Wang Jian, has analyzed the scraping the barrel phenomenon, describing it as a clear indication of the collapse of local government finances in China. He attributes this collapse to 3 main factors. First, the decline in fiscal revenue. Second, the need to repay existing debt. And third, the reduction in transfer payments, meaning the central government's financial support to local governments has decreased. When these 3 factors converge, it's no wonder they have no money left. Wang further explained that the initial phase of this financial collapse involved local governments cutting jobs and reducing salaries while also delaying wage payments, a process that began in the second half of last year. The situation has now escalated to a second phase, where local governments are resorting to scraping the barrel, liquidating existing assets to keep government operations running. At the same time, the Chinese government is implementing a series of measures to try to rescue local economies from their dire straits. According to data published by the Ministry of Finance and cited by Yicai Global, in the first 7 months of this year, local governments in China issued bonds totaling approximately 4.2 trillion yuan. The bond issuance in May alone reached 903.6 billion yuan, marking the highest monthly issuance in the first half of the year. The report noted that as the financial strain between local government revenue and expenditures intensifies, these governments are increasingly relying on bond issuance to fund major projects. It is expected that the pace of local bond issuance will accelerate significantly from August to October, reaching its peak for the year. Public data reveals that of the 4.2 trillion yuan in bonds issued so far, about 2 trillion yuan was raised through the issuance of refinancing bonds. The characteristic of these bonds is borrowing new to repay old, meaning the funds raised are used to pay off maturing debt or existing liabilities. The report also highlighted that in recent years, the scale of maturing local bonds has been substantial. Coupled with the need to prevent and mitigate debt risks, the issuance of refinancing bonds has remained at a consistently high level. In 2023, the Financial Times reported that the cumulative debt of China's local governments had reached an estimated 94 trillion yuan. This staggering figure highlights the severe financial strain facing local authorities across the country. The Wall Street Journal, citing research from New York-based Rhodium Group, revealed that approximately 1/3 of China's major cities are struggling to pay even the interest on their outstanding debts. For instance, in 2021, interest payments in Lanzhou, the capital of Gansu province, accounted for 74% of the city's fiscal revenue. Research from Lianhe Ratings Global, a Chinese credit rating agency, shows that of the $84.2 billion in foreign debt held by local government financing platforms, around 84% is due to mature between 2023 and 2025. Commentators believe that fully addressing local debt risks has become an urgent priority for China. The use of the phrase "scraping the barrel" in official CCP documents is believed to have originated from Xi Jinping himself. Many argue that Xi's economic policies have failed, as he attempts to replicate Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward by launching a nationwide movement to extract funds from the public by any means necessary. China's economy is perceived to be trapped in a vicious cycle, with each downturn leading to further economic hardship. As local governments teeter on the brink of bankruptcy, this situation is likely to trigger even more widespread layoffs and salary cuts. These waves of unemployment and reduced income, in turn, dampen consumer spending, severely impacting the service industry and causing a surge in the closure of small and micro enterprises. These closures, in turn, create even more unemployment, perpetuating the cycle. Independent television producer Li Jun noted that it is not only small restaurants that are suffering. Large restaurant chains and brand name establishments are also facing significant losses, with profitable ones being extremely rare. Recently, the renowned Taiwanese restaurant chain Din Tai Fung abruptly announced the closure of 14 branches in Beijing, Tianjin, Qingdao, Xiamen, and other cities. The popular tea brand Nai Xue reported losses exceeding 400 million yuan in the first half of this year. The restaurant chain Shabu Shabu is expected to lose at least 260 million yuan. Even coffee giant Luckin Coffee has stated that its profits may decline by 50% compared to the same period last year. On August 21st, the Wall Street Journal reported that pessimism is intensifying across Chinese society. People are increasingly attributing their difficulties to the political system itself, fearing that without systemic change, their efforts will lead nowhere. The report described China as a social volcano that, if not erupting, is trembling, sending numerous warning signals to the country's leadership. Some observers believe that the various crises China is currently facing ultimately stem from a political crisis, reflecting the deep despair of the Chinese people towards the nation's political landscape. A former executive director of the Legal Advisory Office of the Inner Mongolia government, Du Wen, who is now based in Europe, remarked, "The phrase, 'scraping the barrel,' aptly summarizes the current state of China's economy, the governance of the Communist Party, and the progress of Xi Jinping's reforms to date. When the government resorts to using scraping the barrel, it signifies immense fiscal pressure, forcing them to consider unconventional, even extreme measures. They include selling state-owned assets at very low prices, cutting welfare spending, raising taxes, or other means, to address and resolve the current financial difficulties." In response to the scraping the barrel phenomenon, one person commented, "After browsing Weibo, it's clear that the latest Tighten Your Belt initiative led by our leader has been completely mishandled by these spendthrifts. How exactly are they smashing pots and pans? It turns out they're selling off state assets." Another person added, "It's fine if they smash their own pots, but they better not smash the of small and medium-sized enterprises." Former chairman of Baijia's strategic think tank and a former member of the Chinese Political Consultative Conference, Liu Mongheng, recently published an article. He stated that China is currently the most politically constrained economy in the world, without exception. He explained why, as the world's second-largest economy, China has seen such a dramatic downturn in just a few years after decades of rapid growth since the reform and opening up. His conclusion is that the problem lies with the economy, but the root cause is political. Former Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao had previously issued a warning during his last press conference, stating, "If we do not carry out political reforms, the achievements of economic reforms could be lost, and a historical tragedy like the Cultural Revolution could occur again." Some experts are also cautioning that the current situation is just like the beginning or part of a process, with harder times ahead. There could be significant trouble in the future.